Hi, today I'm going to show you how you can make your own baby books. So when babies first get introduced to books, it usually is a version of something like this. It's a thick cardboard paper book that can flip very easily. It has pictures in it with a descriptive word adjacent to the picture. These are such important books to introduce the first steps of literacy to your child and also to expand their vocabulary. It's a great conversation starter where you can interact with your baby in describing to them what they are seeing and talking about it and discussing it, and also, obviously identifying it. But the problem with these books are they are quite expensive, and therefore you can only maybe buy one or two, or maybe you cannot even afford to buy any of these books. So I'm going to show you how you can make your own baby book by using cardstock or cardboard that actually is available and in some people's eyes is an item that they throw away. The first thing that you're going to need is an old box. You can also ask at the store for them to give you packaging boxes where the foodstuffs come in that they usually throw away. So an old box. That's the first item. It's a bit close up, but that's what you're going to need. Then if you have any kind of paper, colored paper or white paper that's lying around, you can use some of that. And if you have any kind of magazines that you can cut out from, you're going to need some pictures. So there are many complimentary magazines that you can just pick up in certain places, or they hand them out for free. So if you can't afford a magazine, you can still find magazines that are complimentary or free. Then you're going to need some kind of material or cloth. I'm going to use this calico, unbleached calico, but you can use a patterned material as well. We're going to use that to bind the pages with. And then you will need something like a cutting mat, you'll need a steel ruler, you'll need some glue. I'm going to use this wood glue. You're going to need a cutting blade, you're going to need scissors, and you'll need a pencil. That's all we need. So let's begin. The first step to do is to take your box and using an anti-cutter or a blade knife, and you will cut open the bottom side of the box, and I also cut open the vertical side of the box so that you can have it in a flat open plan. And then I'm going to now cut the pages, the individual pages, from the sides that are at a good size and that look without folds or any wrinkles. I've cut up the box into usable pieces, so these are the ones that I'm going to use. And I've used the blade knife, and just the steel ruler, and of course I cut it on a cutting mat. These are the parts, like I discarded the pieces that were torn or that had wrinkles in them, or any kind of fold or damage, obviously. So now I'm going to measure out the pages, the individual pages, and I've taken the height of my booklet, which is about 11 centimeters or 110 millimeters, and I'm going to make a square book. So I'm going to measure out 110 by 110 millimeters on each page. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to cut the page. I'm going to cut the cardboard into a page. I have finished cutting up all the pages and they look good. They're all the same size. So now we can begin the next step. I'm going to use this piece of calico. It's a type of cotton material to cut long strips. They must be the same length of the page and the width about 20 millimeters on each side, so it has nice grip. I'm going to need to cut, my book has 6 pages, so that I'm going to need to cut 3. I'm going to have 3 double page spreads. So I'm going to cut 3 strips of textile for the inner binding of the book. And I'm going to, the length of it is obviously the length of the page of my book, which is 110 millimeters. And the width of it, I wanted to overlap about 20 millimeters on each side. So it's going to be 40 millimeters in length. I finished cutting the textile or the material strips to the length of the page, and then I gave it a 20 millimeter overlap, so it's 40 millimeters in size. Your book can have as many pages as you want. They must just be an even number, preferably, because that's a lot easier to work with. And I wouldn't make the book too thick, so 10 pages are stretching it, because you want the book obviously to be held by baby's hands, so it must be still manageable for them to fold through it and to hold it. You have to have 1 strip per 2 pages. So my book has 6 pages, and that's why I only need 3 strips. What we are going to do now is I'm going to use this wood glue to take 2 pages, and I'm going to place them next to one another and use the piece of material or textile, and I'm going to glue it onto the cardboard pages. I'm going to make sure it overlaps like so, and that in effect means we're going to create a double page spread. I'm going to do that for each of these. So I'm going to have 3 double page spreads in the end. The pages have dried completely. Now the next step is to actually glue these 3 double page spreads together. So what you need to do is cut again 2 strips of cloth, each of 110 millimeters by 40 millimeters wide. And then I'm going to use it to connect these double pages together. These 4 pages are dry, so we've glued on these 2 double page spreads together. Now we have 4 pages together. Now all we need to do is to glue the last 2 pages to these 4 pages. I'm using again the same size strip, 40 millimeter by 110 millimeter size cloth or material. Okay, I'm going to leave it to dry now. The booklet has dried. All the cloth strips are nice and dry. Now what I wanted to do, I want to cover these prints from the box. So I've just taken some one colored paper that I have on hand, and I'm just going to paste it to cover these double page spreads in different colors to make it nice and fun. The pages of the book have dried completely. There's one more thing I want to do before we begin with decorating the book. I'm going to use a piece of material. I cut it from this very nice printed textile, and it is 110 millimeters in height. And then I measured the width of the spine, which was 30 millimeters, and I allowed 25 millimeters on either side, so it's about 80 millimeters in width and 110 millimeters in height. Now I'm going to add the glue, and I'm going to glue on this piece of material to the outer spine of the book. I'm going to leave it to dry completely. The booklet is finally dry, and now it's time to have some fun. So I'm going to decorate the booklet with animals, and I'm using different pictures from magazines that I'm going to cut out, and then I'm going to paste it onto the pages. Hooray, hooray! The baby book is finally done. I have decided to look for images of wildlife. So that's what the theme of this book is about, but you can choose any theme you can think of. You can do a book of fruit or vegetables or house items, furniture, other food items or foodstuffs, or you can personalize it by making a family album, printing photos of your family. Each member gets a page, and then you write down the name next to the person so that your baby can get to see the word associated with the name of that person. My booklet is going to be about different wildlife, as I mentioned. So this is elephants, cheetah, meerkats, hawk and an owl, buck and lion, and a leopard on the last page.